The myth of the Hunter Biden laptop gets, more wonderful all the time, especially thanks to people like this woman. This is Paulina Luna. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the U.S. representative from Florida's 13th district. Coincidence? I think not. She's on the War Room, which, if they really gave a shit about life on Earth, would be called the Peace Room, but they don't. Obviously, all they care about is the destruction of humankind. That's why they named their show the War Room. Clearly, it used to be the Pandemic War Room because Steve Bannon worked in the Trump White House, and the Trump White House was who was in power in charge of the entire world when the pandemic hit. Just saying, dun dun dun. So, and in case you don't know who she is, Paulina Luna is the one that Matt Gaetz and MTG and others, excuse me. Thank you. I have a sneeze button now. Paulina Luna, someone tried to cast a spell on me, has been accused of being a witch by Matt Gaetz and MTG and that crowd. Yes, I'm not kidding. And also the people that she beat in her primary. Representative Paulina Luna, a Florida Republican, took office on Tuesday and was among the members of the party to vote against electing Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker during her first day. She was also questioned about numerous allegations made by a person characterized as a would-be political rival. Those allegations include that she practices witchcraft and that she once had an affair with Matt Gaetz. Daily Beast on Wednesday wrote it had obtained a letter from a law firm representing Luna that shows she is demanding the person who made the allegations, Matt Tito, apologize for making the claims on a popular radio show. Popular. On Tuesday, Luna posted a video of Daily Beast reporter Zachary Patrizio following her as she left her office in the clip. Patrizio is asking her if she's a witch and if she had some sort of relationship with the representative. And she said the question amounted to sexual harassment. So, anyways, all is hunky-dory in MAGA land. And apparently, there's a new character in the world of the Hunter Biden laptop. Yes, we've got John Paul McIsaac, the man who cannot see, but 6 inches in front of his face, but he can pick Hunter Biden out of a laptop, having never met him in person. And then talk to 2 federal agents who he also had strangely Russian accents and who threatened him and yet didn't. Whatever. Anyways, so who gives a shit? Anyways, she's got a new character. And apparently, well, I don't want to bury the lead, but I don't want to spoil it. I think she names him in this. I hope so. If she doesn't, I'll tell you. All right, here we go.
We got so much to go through, though.
Totally.
By the way, were you a tech sergeant?
No, I was a senior airman before Mafia.
Senior airman.
Yeah.
She was a senior airman in the Army. Hold on, in the Air Force.
By the way, if Congressman Paulina Luna had showed up a little earlier for a hit, I don't think I would have gotten through that first segment. So thank you for your moral. Thank you for your moral. That was tough.
We don't know what you're referencing. You posted this clip. Bring people back in if you're gonna whatever. Play the top piece. Get your editor to slap on the top part so we know what the. Oi.
You've broken a lot of news. By the way, we've had also.
Yes, you refuse to glue it back together, and I think that's just rude.
Announcement today. The breakup of the biggest spy ring in the history of the United States. Yes, Sequoia Capital announced this morning that they're splitting in 2. Right, they're going to separate out their Chinese part from the American part.
And they didn't do that while Trump was in office, but now that Biden's in office, that's happening. Why would that be, Steve? Why? Since that was an ongoing concern, and it could have happened under Trump, why didn't it? Why did it not happen when Trump was in? There's a lot of shit that's happening now that is not good for the Chinese government, that somehow it proves that Biden is a bad guy, that could have happened when Trump was in office, but didn't, but which proves that he is supported. I don't know.
Blade Sequoia, we're still coming after you. Colonel Derek Harvey, Brian Costello, Lee Smith, Natalie Winters. We have an entire team on the investigation of the most corrupt organization in America, and that's saying something, Sequoia Capital. But Sequoia Capital, you can run, but you can't hide.
Yeah, you're Steve Bannon's podcast is coming after you. Well, not him. I mean, the FBI and probably members of the the functioning intelligence state of the United States government that's actually in charge of that kind of shit. And again, could have done it when Trump was in office, but didn't.
Just like on Oversight. Okay.
Yeah, back up. Tell us again why things that could have happened while Trump was in office that are happening under Biden prove that Biden cares less about him than when they were under Trump.
You're a firebrand, but you're not a bomb thrower.
That's a great way of saying it. I don't really do anything.
Right? You're a firebrand, but there's a difference. You're a firebrand, but not a bomb thrower. But you threw a bomb yesterday. I think it was during our afternoon show. And also I'm looking down because we got the Paulina.
And by the way, if you're going to throw a bomb while in there in the middle of the show, at least open a window. Crack a window. I mean,
alerts. And all of a sudden I see this thing coming out of committee. And by the time I saw it, I think it's had 1 million retweets. What did you actually say? And how many retweets is this thing? This is one of the most viral things I've ever seen.
So
yeah, 1 million.
I think now it's upwards of 3.3 million impressions just on Twitter alone.
Yeah, it's almost as if Elon Musk wants it to be seen. Wonder why that would be.
But
3.3 million impressions.
yes. So obviously that's huge because
just left meeting up House Oversight. The FBI is afraid their informant will be killed if unmasked based on the info he has brought forward about the Biden family. No. Just I'm calling bullshit, and 100 times over, because their informant is not alleging that they are actually aware of these things. They made an allegation that didn't pan out. The reason that person, they're afraid that person might be killed is because right-wingers might see them as a deep state operative who's trying to ruin their attack on Biden and might go after him. Because, again, this whole idea that Biden is, a dough-headed old man who can't find his pants, but he's also the head of the biggest criminal enterprise on the planet and has tentacles and everything.
Had not been for social media, I don't know that this truth would be out there like this, but I simply
Well, it's not a truth. It's just a statement on your part.
just put out a fact that came out of a briefing in Oversight. So we know that Comer's been obviously working to get a certain document from the FBI that
Which he's seen, which has no basis in reality. But please continue.
proves that Biden was receiving money from a foreign national, $5 million, when he was a vice president. So it's public corruption. And
No, that's that. The assumption is that Hunter Biden's company got $5 million while he was a private citizen, while his father was a vice president.
the FBI not only did not
We'll see. By the way, I'm not just talking out of school about this. You'll see what Jim Jordan says, and you'll go, yeah, this is more of the same bullshit. This is a giant game of it's like a game of telephone about a half-watched episode of Law and Order.
not want to hand over this document. It's not classified, but they also said that if the informant who has been with the FBI for over 10 years,
We saw Comer's actual
very
statement.
credible sourcing, has been paid over 6 figures. This is not just some random schmuck.
Paid over 6 figures for other things.
For information.
Of other things he's worked on. So obviously
Correct.
has a level of credibility.
Or most of those payouts happened during the Trump years when they were trying to drum shit up. And that's one of the reasons, did the spike in payments go up after Comey went out and Wray came in because Trump put him in there and gave them a directive? Right.
100%. The FBI was basically stating that this is one of their most trusted informants dating back to the Obama era, but ultimately that they were in fear that this individual would be killed if they were unmasked.
Hang on a second. Slow down. Because this is like now in a mob movie.
Yes, and then between that and to the other point of the FBI is
Oh boy, here it comes.
infiltrated. You have a spy by the name of One Eye.
Cy, the one-eyed spy. He's yes. Some people his His code name is Wonder Weasel.
Say it, and I feel like I'm in a James Bond movie, but
Nah, not a James Bond movie. I like one. They had GoldenEye. That's more of a Bond movie. One Eye is more like a plot, like a character on Airwolf.
unfortunately, it's true.
Unfortunately, it's true that he has one eye, or that you think you're in a Bond movie.
Who has been leaking information to their knowledge to Hunter Biden in regards to the ongoing investigation into him. So we can't even trust the FBI.
Let's connect all this.
You can't even trust the FBI because one eye is leaking stuff to Hunter Biden about the investigation. I mean, the guy's dad is president. I don't know why you'd have to leak it straight to him. You could kind of loop Paul in, especially if he's running the whole thing. If, again, Hunter's supposedly just the bag man, why does he get all the first issue intel?
By the way, yesterday, I think, until
very seldomly, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Corey came along, the biggest spy in American history, Hansen, died, and we still, I think, totally know the reason, out in Supermax prison out in Florence, Colorado.
Because he'd been in jail for 15 years or something like that. He died in prison. He was old.
FBI agent. And this was the guy that Angleton at the CIA went after. Angleton knew, and this drove Angleton mad, and quite frankly destroyed the careers of probably 200 CIA and FBI officers. Hunting for the greatest mole we ever had was an FBI agent, Hansen. You're saying now, so it's connect the dots here. They got an informant, but they also have a mole.
Yeah, one eye snuck into the jail and did a fucking Tom Cruise Mission Impossible and dripped blue goo into his CPAP machine that obviously because he's a federal prisoner, where we the taxpayer have to pay for, and then bum got out of there, and now he'll forever take with him to the grave all the evidence that came out at his trial.
So there's
FBI, this is FBI testifying to Comer or talking to Comer on the ring. Okay.
So we have
about one eye.
In regards to the specifically Biden information, there's a whistleblower and there's a human source, an informant. Okay, so that's separate. Aside from that, there is a mole within the FBI who is leaking information to Hunter.
There's a mole with an FBI.
Biden, and his code name is One Eye. So we have the ongoing investigation into Hunter Biden via the FBI. They have information that they are refusing to give to Congress. They are telling Congress that they have a genuine fear that this individual will be killed if they are unmasked. This is one of
no. They say this generally about human sources. Across the board. That is their generalized concern about any protected source.
their most trusted sources.
No.
And while this is all happening, we are finding out that not only is the president, this is not a conspiracy theory. We have evidence, okay? So
no, you don't, actually. You have the allegation paper that is supposedly Comer has seen, but does not have a copy of, and only made notes of the non-classified parts of it, which you are saying is unclassified, but it's actually classified. And the allegation that there is a guy codenamed One Eye who is sneaking stuff to Hunter Biden, but the FBI can't do anything about it because Trump stole all the classified documents. They don't know where. The only person that knows who One Eye is Donald Trump and anyone he's shown the classified documents to.
Now we're also finding out that the man sitting in the White House is basically guilty of national security violations. He's corrupt.
Basically. It's basically guilty. He's basically guilty.
But hang on. So how do you know he's, from the information you have, how do you know? That's a big leap to say he's guilty. Why do you say that?
She did not say he was guilty, Steve. She said he's basically guilty.
Because of the information that the FBI has, proving that he has received a $5 million payment from a foreign national while he was as the vice president sitting basically next to Obama in the White House.
Basically sitting next to him.
And that's in addition to the funding that we're seeing coming out.
Yeah, leave all the Chinese stuff aside. This is totally separate.
Yeah, all the Chinese stuff aside. That's again, hold on one second. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. New tensions have arisen right before expected high-level meetings between the U.S. and Chinese officials. Gee, I don't know why. I mean, Biden's obviously on the take. Why aren't we just bending over backwards and giving Beijing whatever they want?
This is
like Trump did.
$5 million, and we still don't know whether it's through Romania, from the CCP. But you're saying there's a...
No, it's Papua New Guinea. Most of us, some people think it was Argentina. I disagree. I think the entire payment was made in dried in Parmesan cheese flakes. That's just me.
Whistleblower and informant, and the FBI is informing Comer and the Oversight Committee that the FBI believes, or the informant believes, that
there's an informant. The informant is concerned that there's an informant that is leaking stuff to Hunter Biden about the investigation, which means whatever they're telling him is true, unlike the allegations, which are not, as far as we know.
Their name is exposed. They could be, they're afraid for their lives. They're afraid of being assassinated.
The FBI told Comer that they had a credible fear that this individual would be killed if they were unmasked.
By whom? Again, just because there's a credible fear that they could be killed does not mean that the Biden administration is the one who would want them dead. Like, there's a big bunch of people on the right who are like, you bullshitted us.
So
right.
Where does that leave? I mean, that you can't stop the investigation because that, to me, that would drive it up to the highest.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously got to dig in and go after old One Eye. You know, you got to, you're going to have to stroke him for information, clearly.
Priority to get done.
Oh, we can't stop the investigation. And the fact that they don't want to give Congress, which is basically the answering authority that the FBI has to answer to. We are the people. You have to answer to us. You can't continue.
Yeah, but you can't interrupt an actual investigation or give away details that will prove someone's guilt, possibly, or actually exonerate them and give half of it to Congress so they can kind of slow pedal release it for political reasons, because that would be insanity. Which, again,
one, to hide this information, and also, too, if you are in fear that you can't even protect your witness, why would you then continue to try to put that person in jeopardy, right? They would need to go into witness protection. We have to open up.
Well, that's, again, if A, they exist, and B, maybe they're in witness relocation for other stuff.
Comer, to your knowledge, did Comer, in talking to Ray and the FBI, say, if you have a...
Can I see One Eye? Does he really have one eye, or is that a penis reference from the Johnson administration?
Fear, and you're our lead federal law enforcement agency, where's that threat coming from? Is it from a foreign threat, or is it from associates with Tony
Bobulinski,
Biden, and the people that this...
John Paul McIsaac? I hear he's a crack shot.
Point to where's the threat coming from?
I wasn't in the room and I didn't hear the full back and forth, but
basically, I wasn't in the room and I didn't hear the full back and forth. We heard Comer's description of it. Does anybody think this lines up with what Comer said?
What was interesting is that Comer was not the only one that heard this, right? There was other staff present in the room.
Sure, yeah, there were other staff that work with Comer.
And I find it very alarming.
Did you talk to the staff or just to Comer? Or did they stand there nodding? And were you keeping notes about when they stopped nodding while he was talking? They were going, yeah, huh? Yeah. And then they went back to nodding after the bullshit passed.
That the FBI still chose to hide that information from us, saying that it was an ongoing investigation, which we know that the FBI can keep ongoing investigations forever.
No, I think they eventually have to shit or get off the pot. I think not finding something does not mean an investigation is just open until we find something.
Ultimately, though, the bigger issue is that they are basically thinking that they're not accountable.
There's a lot of basically is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this
to
conversation.
the people. And so on Thursday, we will be holding a hearing to mark up the bill to hold the director of the FBI in contempt of Congress. And frankly, that will go to the floor. So
Yeah, go after him. The guy that, get him out of there so Biden can appoint somebody. Yes. Go after Chris Wray. Get him thrown out. And then, because he was a Trump appointee, then allow Joseph Robinette Biden to give someone a 10-year term instead of, like, what are they? All right.
I think that this is the old, 1.0 Republican Party. And I think that we absolutely have to hold these people accountable. Steve, like, I say this stuff and it's crazy because.
Yes, you do say stuff that is crazy. That is true. Now, who among us, chat room, you guys are here. Who's here? If you were going to be on a show like this and you had any written notes or any specifics about, other than codename One Eye, which I gotta say sounds like they're fucking with you, wouldn't you have some part of that with you? I can't show you everything, but these are the notes that I'm allowed to share. These are the details of it. This is an important thing because these are not germane to the investigation. I have cleared these details and I'm going to release them today because the American people need to know the truth. We're not seeing that at all for a reason.
It sounds like something that is made for a movie, but if we don't, who's going
No, it does not. Movies, there's a certain amount of craftsmanship that goes into a movie. Maybe, like I said, a made-for-TV movie, perhaps. Some really low-end streaming services. I'm talking to you, Freevee or Tubi, but not. A later Brian Bosworth film, maybe. I like the guy, and I certainly loved Stone Cold, the first one that they made, but
going to do it? If we don't do it, who's going to do it? So.
Good point. Yeah, it's certainly not going to be old One Eye.
We have to, and to my understanding, McCarthy has been working with Comer on bringing that to the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's the face of a woman who says stuff that she just doesn't believe. Like that hold where you're like, okay, I just said a bunch of bullshit. Let's see if it gets past the baseline bullshit detector that most humans have. That's obviously this fellow has mostly in the soap aisle.
Even if that's brought to the floor, the is that going to be a civil or criminal?
I think it'd be criminal.
Okay, there'll be
no, it won't. You're not going to hold the FBI director in criminal contempt for not giving you documents that are currently being used in an investigation, even if that investigation, fucko, and I got news, like, this is the ongoing investigation part. The ongoing investigation could very well be that Hunter Biden didn't pay taxes that he should have paid on stuff, and that's part of what they have to do. You know what it could also be? You know what that investigation, that ongoing investigation could be? Is who paid one of our regular informants to sell this shit to us, and who's behind it? That's an ongoing investigation, isn't it? And if they and that's closer to, rather than just a fucking financial tax crime, which is all that they've got, that they've been floating around about Hunter Biden at all. This concept of that there was a bribery scheme and that you could tie it to U.S. policy, which Biden had no particular control over. He was put in charge of things, but only to carry them out under agreement of the rest of the administration and Congress. Again, we go back to the prosecutor in Ukraine that everybody's like, he got the guy kicked out, $1 billion, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, Obama sent him to do that. The Congress had already ordered that. We're not giving the money unless that guy is gone because he refuses to go after corruption. It's just so goofy.
Flip us then. Maybe throw Peter. No, but it's still. Here's what I understand.
A lot.
When they say it's an ongoing investigation, to the best to your knowledge or Comer or the staff's, this is from what, 6 or 7 years ago.
6 or 7 years ago.
At least it could be early. What is the?
You mean during the Trump administration? After Wray was brought in? where an informant came in with information against what was at that time expected to be the biggest potential rivalry Trump would have in the next go around, and the only person he was afraid of running against?
Where do they stand in their investigation?
I think that that's the questions that we want to know. If this is ongoing, you've had this information, you know that the law was violated, you did nothing, you had this information.
No, they don't. Information is not evidence. Every piece of information you know or you think about or that you remember is not evidence unless it is indicative of who was involved in a crime or the crime itself.
Going into 2020, and by the way, the same FBI that's conducting the investigation has a mole that's leaking information to Hunter Biden.
Yes, I'm familiar with that fellow. I understand that he's got a strange name. It escapes me right now, but I think it's old something. It's old.
Probably leaking information on this as well to
I am not. How dare
Hunter
you?
Biden. I mean, the extent of which the corruption exists is unknown.
Your point
Or if it even exists at all. That's the thing.
is that they've known at least somewhat about this before the 2020
Yes,
election.
they 100% did.
No doubt in your mind.
Yes, no doubt in my mind.
They just didn't know whether it was actually a crime or not, and they still don't. And it seems like there isn't one, but okay.
And particularly, they knew it also in 2019 when the laptop from hell was given over to the FBI.
This goes
Yeah, there is no laptop. It was a hard drive, and no.
back to when Joe Biden was vice president.
Vice President.
Which would be way before the Rudy Giuliani went to Europe and bought a hard drive for $5 million.
Yes, but even when they got that, it connected more dots.
No, it didn't. It actually disconnected those dots because fruit of the poison.
Let's talk about the mole. How did the mole come up? How did you
Excuse me. Don't talk about me like I'm not here, okay?
guys actually learn about the mole?
The mole has been briefed to us from the committee from what we've been able to find out, but all I know is that this
That basically...
individual, they have not been able to identify who it is.
Should I tell her? So, they're called... And by the way, it's not just One Eye, it's Captain One Eye to you.
And that they are leaking information about an active
Out of the One Eye, or is it is the One Eye leaking? I've heard tales of this before. Limericks, more like, but still.
investigation into Hunter Biden to Hunter Biden. So, I mean, even in just saying that, you know, if this was you, for example, you can bet they would be trying to figure out who that mole was.
Have they?
Huh? Or if you're just making that person up. Maybe they can't find them because Comer made this person up.
On this whistleblower, other whistleblowers are coming up. By the whistleblower law, that takes them out of the system for the FBI and deals directly with the committee as a whistleblower. Can't you just tell the FBI we want to just deal directly with the whistleblower?
Well,
or they're not giving over the name. They're not identifying letting you have any contact.
Well, this
Yes, the whistleblower wants to blow his whistle in silence. He wants to, it's a secret whistle that he's blowing. And old One Eye likes to blow his own whistle. And that's where he got the name.
is their human
That's
source.
that's a violation of the law, isn't it?
Well,
It's up to that person. You know, you can't force someone to blow their own whistle. I think it's a violation. You'd have to talk to HR, really.
there's a whistleblower and there's an informant.
Yes.
The informant has been with the FBI for over 10 years.
No. The human source you're talking about is not the... All right, no.
And is one of their highest paid informants and sources.
Citation needed.
So they're saying that this individual, if unmasked, if we know who it is, that they have
Well, it's not a full mask. It just covers one eye. It's a different person.
a credible fear that this person will be killed.
And what about the whistleblower?
There's many whistleblowers that have come forward. We know that one recently, I think it was on May 30th, just basically came forward and said
Basically...
that he was a
You like basically, if I'm to be completely honest, basically we're like basically have a crime where basically like we're all basically living in like basically a James Basically movie.
An Israeli
It's like the basically identity. It's like
officer
Yes.
that was working alongside as an advisor with a Chinese company. He came forward, and now he's being charged with cooked up charges from the DOJ. They're trying to say that he's an illegal arms trafficker.
okay, what? Sorry, you had your informant has a what? Your what now? Your informant what now?
And sources. So they're saying that this individual, if unmasked, if we know who it is, that they have a
Right.
credible
You're
fear
gonna
that
get-
this person will be killed.
And what?
Yeah, but then the whistleblower, one of the whistleblowers is an arms trafficker.
About the whistleblower.
There's many
There's so many whistleblowers. Like when I walk by,
whistleblowers that have come forward. We know that
and then they're very disappointed when I turn around and it's just she and I have the same hair.
one recently, I think it was on May 30th,
Yeah.
just basically came forward and
Basically.
said that he was
Who's the guy in the Hitchhiker's Guide that Hal reminds me of? Zaphod Beeblebrox, goddammit. That's right.
an Israeli officer
Yes.
that was working alongside as an advisor with a Chinese company. He came forward, and now he's being charged with cooked up charges from the DOJ.
Wait, sorry. I got distracted by a Hitchhiker's Guide question again. What the shit?
And said that he was an Israeli officer
Yes.
He was an Israeli officer. Go on.
that was working alongside as an advisor with a Chinese company. He came
So he's an Israeli officer. He was working with a Chinese company and
forward, and now he's being charged with cooked up charges from the DOJ. They're trying to say that he's an illegal arms trafficker.
basically an arms trafficker. And the only reason they're saying that is because as an Israeli agent working with a Chinese company, he was trafficking arms. And but he is one of our most trusted, deeply patriotic sources.
Do you have to bolt, right? You have to bounce.
Yeah, have
Okay.
to head out.
Yeah, she's got she's got to put her, her patch disguise on. And yeah.
To him.
Where do people get social media?
Oh, fuck off. Where can people like check out your newsletter and when does the Tale of Old One Eye come out in paperback? Because those books are heavy to hold up in hardback with one hand.
Where do they follow you? Because this is an explosive and ongoing. Where do
It's explosive. It is explosive. This whole thing is exploding. Exploding One Eye.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
people go?
At Rep Luna or at Real Anna Paulina.
I want everybody.
Or Real Anna Paulina, or at Superwitch at truthsocial.gov. The Assassination of One Eye, a 3-part Amazon Prime series. The only bad side about me with an eye patch on is that both of my eyes look so good. Otherwise, this is a good look. Yeah, just saying. It's not bad overall. At some point, we're all going to have like these coverings on our eyes anyways that are going to be like, after the Apple thing just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, and then it'll just kind of clip onto your eye and you'll just see the world through these things, and it'll be a way to augment your vision. You'll just wear these kind of like strapless sunglasses. I don't need to talk about this. I'll save it for Friday.
Go there. Once again, real quickly, on Thursday, what's going to happen to the best of your knowledge?
So
Yeah, to the best of your knowledge, what's going to happen Thursday? Well, a lot of people are going to feel like it's Wednesday. It's weird that way. You ever have a Thursday where you're like, is today Wednesday? And you're like, no, it's Thursday. It's weird. I felt like it's Wednesday all day long.
we are marking up a bill to hold the director of the FBI in contempt of Congress
You're marking it up.
in House Oversight.
Good luck.
And you're working diligently on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's absolutely. She's spending the next 3 days learning how to spell Congress.
It's going to be an entire hearing.
Basically, it's going to be an entire hearing. Because God forbid it be something that's obviously self-evident and you go through it and that's that. What's the fucking holdup? If you think you have a legal right to documents he's not given to you, forward that on to the speaker. Let him hold a vote on it. It will die because he's a Trump appointee and people will tell you to go fuck yourself. Yeah, spend all fucking day. You know what? I'm happy about it. I take it back. Do it. Spend all day drafting up a contempt charges against Christopher Wray. Do a 6-hour fucking hearing. You know why? Because it keeps you from doing other shit. It will keep you from all the other mischief you could possibly be doing, all the wreckage that you could possibly do. Busy yourself and the rest of your nudniks. Please. It's like, have another Jim Jordan gaggle where you just kind of like parade dipshits in front of the Congress for a couple hours, because it keeps you guys from drafting up any bills, any legislation that will actually have an impact and fuck with anybody's life. I'm for it. It's truth social. It's social.
30 seconds, shifty shift.
So, to my knowledge, tomorrow we will be taking the vote to censure him and potentially fine him.
Tomorrow
Night.
And that has tomorrow night, and that has that backing of leadership.
Yes, we're working on the bill right now.
They're giving us.
We're totally working on it. We're gonna work on it. I'm working on it right now with you. I'm here. This is me working on it. We're gonna censure. The problem, we came back, and like 2 weeks later she comes back. How'd the censoring of Shifty Shift go? Well, apparently you have to write his full real name in the bill or it's not legally binding. So we weren't able to do it. I mean, lesson learned, obviously. Next time it's going to be a hard thing to do. And by the way, our actually doing that probably raises the chances he'll get elected to the Senate in California. So shit. Well, basically like Anna Paulina Luna is basically part of the Dum Dum Caucus, and I guess congratulations to the Freedom Caucasians on a complete and utter waste of time. We watched, by the way, for those of you that are thinking that she's relaying something that's genuine, we watched what Comer said when he came out of that meeting, and very little, if any, of what she said lines up with him at all, except the basic kind of like, we saw a document, there's the thing, they're not giving it to us, and I don't know why, but we're gonna show them who's a what. Oh, God. It's funny, but people like watch this shit and then they're like, oh my God, what if these people actually relax